Welcome to Somewhere from Partially Underground on this continent. Tonight I entitled this teaching, Partiality. If you'd like to follow along, you can open up to James chapter 3. I'll be reading verse 17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. So there's two parts in this verse. What we should do always and what we should never do. The word partiality is from Strong's Word 87, adiakritos. The word hypocrisy is Strong's Word 505, anopokritos. These are two words are different, but they're tied, connected together. Partiality, making a decision unfavorable to somebody else for not a good reason. Hypocrisy is saying one thing and doing another thing. It's also used as a word for, comes from a word to mean wearing a mask. And when these things work together because you have a certain view that you're not going to maybe release a person to a ministry or even invite them. Like in Samuel where Jesse did not invite David because he was practicing partiality, and he was hypocritical because he was masking and covering up that David was around the corner. I remember church I was involved in. From the very first day I was there, and I always knew I wasn't one of the favorites there, but there was a number of us he was going to pick for leadership in the church, and I actually got more opportunities than the other two pastors there, besides them to preach, even probably preach more than the one pastor. But because I wouldn't get a degree, he was telling me, you need to have a degree on the wall, so we're all credentialed. And I started to, but then I felt like, you know what, I just don't feel like that's what God wants me to do. And so, he asked me to leave, but his partiality was the fact that I have to have a credential. The hypocrisy thing is that he masked where this whole thing was going, when I think early on he knew they were going to get rid of me. But that happens in the church. Now, the things in the first part of James 3:17, peaceable, mercy, good fruits, and earthly wisdom doesn't come from heaven, is partiality and hypocrisy. And so it's just a little teaching on what we deal with in the church. And when you go and you visit a church, cliques do get formed. And if you're not careful, you operate and make judgments on that. And just like Jesse, who decided that David wasn't going to come to see the prophet. And so we as individuals in the church have to know when it's time to move on when we're dealing with this. And you probably can't get very far if they don't want to help be a target. I was traveling 5 or 6 years ago with a group of people. We stopped at a place in a 3 gas station town, and I went in, and it's my turn to pay. I paid, and I came out, and I told him, hey, I got to go in there and give this guy a track. So I went in there and gave him a track, and we got to talk, and he says, yeah, I wanted to put Bible teachings on YouTube, but I was just, I don't know what to look at it. I told them about me, and they're not very big channels, but I've done what God has called me to do. And I'm hoping from that one day I look online and there's this huge ministry of millions of subscribers, and but that was encouragement that he needed to do something, and God could take that and just take his ministry and take it off, instead of what some people would do. I could have stuck my nose up, like I've had pastors stick their nose up at me and walk out, but what would that have done? And you don't know what gift somebody has, but he's willing to do something. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I think more people should be doing Bible teaching from their unique experience, putting them on YouTube. What a great idea. But if you've experienced this in the church, then you need to seek a church where the leadership is pure, peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And that is what we as individual believers must do. And you know, within the church system that is out there, and we gotta pray and ask God and to press in. Lord, I just pray for everyone who views this teaching, that this is a problem in the church in America in a lot of different ways, in ways that maybe pastors don't think or don't care about. And there is not really wanting to utilize all the gifts that are out there for one reason, and denominationalism is one of the biggest obstacles in the church in America, because we divide everything up. Or I'm a Baptist, or I don't believe in tongues, or I'm this, or I'm Pentecostal, or I'm that. Lord, I just pray for each of us to work at this in our own hearts and lives, and each pastor who views this, you would give them a word, revelation, where they stand when they act, when they're out among the people, and when they're making decisions in the church. How are they acting? Signing off from somewhere partially underground. Good night.